been lit, boy. Everything goes.
We now return you to regular programming.
What is up, guys? What is it today? Today's
Tuesday.
Tuesday. It is
Tuesday
currently
podcast day.
7:56 p.m. on a beautiful, beautiful day here in Whitehall, Pennsylvania. We hope everyone is doing good and staying safe and just that everything's going your way today. And hopefully our voices make your day just a little bit better right now.
And before we start this podcast, we had to say we have a sponsor tonight for this podcast.
Oh, look at that.
Morgan Mixers out of New Orleans, Louisiana. I just put my order in for them. Morgan Mixers are a homemade mixer with premium spirits and 100% fruit juices with no additives or preservatives whatsoever. All products are made to order and can be shipped nationwide, including gallons. And they're all made in New Orleans with the love of the Big Easy.
Man, you get them in gallons. Look at that.
Yeah, I got my order coming. I got 12 of a variety of the 16 ounces. Can't wait.
Well, if you're looking for a nice refreshment, that is your place to go. Our first sponsor, would you look at that?
And you know what? He has boozy pops too, man. Summertime, you pop those babies in the freezer. Nothing like a pineapple sidecar. Can't wait. I'm excited.
We also have a very, very big special guest joining us later in this podcast. We're very excited for him, and we've been holding out on this one. It's a very big one for us. But
And this last week has been pretty good for us. I mean, our Twitter followers are up to almost 400 now.
Instagram followers are getting up there.
You know, we had a shout out from a running back in the NFL.
Very big special shout out. If you guys did not see that, before you even listen to the rest of this podcast, just go out and either check our Instagram or check our Facebook or Twitter, and you will see a lovely, lovely shout out that we got.
And we have another one that we might be getting soon. You know, that's the nice thing about these NFL players and MLB players and players. Not all of them can come on because obviously what's going on in baseball, there's a lot of negotiating going on. They don't want to come on and say anything. We have a few players lined up that absolutely said they'll come on once this is settled.
But some of them are giving a shout outs.
We have NFL players that are going through negotiation with contracts, so they don't want to come on. You know, it's just the time where they don't want to say too much.
And we were in contact with Kevin Pillar. It was there for the taking, but, you know, with everything going on, like he just said, he just didn't want to come on yet until everything is settled back to normal. He said to hit him up later. So let's keep our fingers crossed and hope that we can get Kevin Pillar on.
I mean, the thing is it takes a lot of work to get these people to come on. I mean, it's almost harassment at some point. You constantly bug. And then when you feel the tug on that hook, you know, you really get excited.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a guy that we've been trying to get on now for almost 2 years who just keeps the time. He's a busy guy, and our time and his time don't match up. So he keeps saying in the fall, try in the fall, something comes up. So fingers crossed for him.
We actually have been getting a lot more organized. We've been growing up a little bit and writing down these athletes where I think we have.
I'm looking at the board right now.
I'm blocking the board so they can't see, but I think there's like 3 people that are currently scheduled. You know, we've been reaching out to college athletes, minor leaguers, people who have played in the MLB, but we're starting to get organized out here. But
the interesting thing about the college players is I like to see what their mindset is as far as what's going on with the coronavirus.
Yeah,
they all lost a year of sports. Some of the colleges are actually closing again. I guess Clemson had like 20-some cases of coronavirus on their football squad.
I know that the Phillies are
Phillies are another one. They have 12 now between staff and players. The Cowboys have several players. Houston has several players. That famous tennis player, he just had a charity event. He got the coronavirus because he was out partying.
That's tough, man. I mean, you got Tom Brady, who's a G, and is saying, you know, screw this coronavirus. I don't care about these numbers that are rising in Florida. I'm still going to go out there and train with my new team, and he's still not going to win that division.
And the scariest thing about this whole coronavirus is there's, with so much going on in the world right now, they're not really talking about coronavirus. And in 25 states now, since Memorial Day weekend, the cases have escalated. They're going up really, really high.
I was telling my girlfriend, because she's going to West Palm Beach area for school, and I said they just had a lot of numbers rise.
Florida had 10,000 cases, I believe, in one weekend.
The West Palm area is actually about to vote to make it mandatory to wear a mask for a while, just because they're not making it mandatory right now. And it's going to suck for kids going to college and just people. I hate wearing my mask at work all day, man. It gets so hot underneath there, and just my glasses steam up. It is such a frustrating thing to have to deal with every single day.
Florida had 10,000 cases in one weekend. Texas had 5,000 cases alone today.
It's a lot.
And you know what's funny? When we first started this coronavirus,
Do you have the
New
stat
York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania.
It was our East Coast that was really getting
We
hit.
were averaging thousands of cases a day.
Yeah.
And now we're down to 200.
We're doing good.
We had 500 on Friday, and everyone was like in a panic again.
We're doing good, though.
You know, it seems like all the states now, that like the warm states, they said, oh, the warm states is where it's going to die off, is where they're getting hammered with it now.
Because they talked about the second wave was going to hit when we get into our fall. But do you have the stats at all? I don't know if you do or not. But
No, I don't have the stats.
I was going to say
open.
Florida and Texas. I want to know the stats of, like, those 5,000 cases, how many of them were, critical? How many of them were just, they were in the hospital for maybe a day or two and had their good? That's what I'd like to hear.
Well, I'm reloading the John Hopkins app now, and to date, we have 9,184,976 total cases in the world.
They tell me deaths?
Total deaths, I don't have that.
That's a very important stat there.
The United States has 121,000 deaths alone.
You think about the United States, we have a population about, what, over a billion?
Yeah.
And only 1,000 people die. It's not bad. It's not bad. I'm not saying it's good. It's not good that 1,000 people died.
The problem is it's like you taking a gun, putting a bullet in it, spinning the chamber, and pulling the trigger.
Oh, I know, yeah.
It's
I know.
Russian roulette. You don't, the first wave of this, they said, oh, it's not going to affect kids. Now look what's happening. It's
Now it's
affecting
evolving
kids.
and it's affecting kids.
And then that Kawasaki disease is coming out too, where it's really, really affecting kids. So you gotta, it's going to affect sports too, because you're seeing more and more players that are getting it. The
2020,
NBA, tomorrow's the deadline for players to make their decision whether they're going to Orlando or not. And Florida is the hot spot right now.
There is a lot of players who are coming out saying they're not playing. Ariza came out and said he doesn't want to play.
Now, he has a good reason why he's not going. He's in a custody battle with his ex. He gets his child for 1 month of visitation during one of the months he's supposed to be down there. So the guy's already made over $100-some million in his career. He's been in basketball for a long time. He's going to get his 12-year-old son for that month. So he's passing on going to play basketball, which
It's a good thing.
I think he plays for Portland, so his team is in the tournament, but they're not in the playoffs yet. So
Yeah.
I think if I'm not mistaken, they're 3.5 games out of the number 8 seed. So he's saying no, he's not going. He's just, it's not worth it. Now David Bertans, on the other hand, who plays for the Washington Wizards, he's making a decision not to go because of a contract. He's due for a big contract next year, and he doesn't want to risk. He's coming off 2 ACL tears. He does not want to risk going down there. The guy is he's up for the 2019-2020 Most Improved Player Award. He averages 15, almost 16 points a game. His minutes are up to 29 minutes a game, and he shoots 42% from the three-point range. So he's due a big contract, and the Wizards support his decision. Now the Wizards are 5.5 out. They're 6 behind. I think they're 5.5 out behind Orlando. They're 6 behind the Nets, I believe. So he's chose not to go because of a contract. Do you blame him?
I think you also had KD and Kyrie said that they don't want to play. You also have how do you pronounce that guy's name? I told you before.
Jokic.
Jokic. He just tested for COVID. He was
plays for
in
Denver.
I think he was in Syria or something. And he got the coronavirus.
Well, which is weird. A lot of these players are overseas yet. They're, how are they going to get back to the United States? I don't know if they're allowing private charters in, but I think commercial airlines are still banned from traveling overseas.
Siberia, I think he was in. Did I say that already?
But anyway, I just don't know how these play.
It's going to be overwhelming. You think we're going to have hockey, basketball, and baseball? That's if baseball takes off. We're hoping it does. 60-game proposal thing that's going on, but that's going to be intriguing, man. It's going to be like, which one do I watch? Do I watch the Sixers in the playoffs? Do I watch the Flyers in the playoffs? Do I get ready to watch the only thing that sucks with this baseball thing is I just don't feel like it's a real season. And
To me,
as much as I miss baseball, like, say the Yankees get to the World Series and they win, it's like, and you're always going to have those people that be like, they played 60 games, they didn't play a real season. And I don't know, it's going to feel, I think it's going to be cool. Do you think they're going to play at their home stadiums, or do you think they're going to play like in random locations?
I think what's going to happen is they're not going to have spring training in Florida and Arizona. They're going to keep the teams at their home stadiums. The Yankees and Mets already came out and said they're not going anywhere. They're staying in New York.
So how are you going to play other teams?
I think it's going to be divisional. It's going to be East Coast. There's no American National League. It's going to be East Coast, Central, and it's going to be the West Coast.
That should be.
Which is going to be a great division for the East Coast. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, you got the what? The Yankees, the Phillies. Well, the Orioles aren't that good anymore. The Marlins aren't that good anymore. But the Atlanta Braves, is that technically East Coast? It's definitely East Coast, right?
Yes, it is. It is the Braves.
It's going to be interesting, man.
The only thing that's really up in the air right now is for Toronto. Here's what came out. Baseball, and this is the commissioner now. He's just basically throwing his hand in the ring and saying this is what's going to happen. Camp's going to start July 1st. Season starts July 24th. 60-game season. 37% of the prorated salaries will be given to the players, approximately $1.5 billion total. The Ontario Health Office already came out and said they're still waiting on the MLB's plan for their health needs and everything.
Yeah.
Because right now the border between the United States and Canada is closed. And the only way that you're allowed to go into Canada is if it's for an essential business.
Yeah, I saw that the players agreed to everything, but just the health and the health regulations and everything is still being tampered with. That they're
all
all
non-essential visits have to be quarantined for 14 days.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I did see the Phillies had 2 more players and 2 more staff members test positive for the coronavirus. That takes them to 12 people already. When does what certain number do you think you hit before like an owner's like, I don't want to play this year?
I think at this point they have no choice; they have to play.
I mean, I guess that's true. A commissioner has to make.
But what are they going to do as far as the rosters? Are they going to be allowed to expand the roster since there's no minor league baseball? Are they going to be allowed to call guys up whenever and whenever? You know.
And as a player, if you see like as a Phillies player, I know as much as you miss baseball, as much as you have the mentality that I'm not going to get sick. I'm a pretty healthy guy. Like you can have the best mentality you think, but as a player, you know, when is it okay? There's a lot of people in my organization that are getting sick right now. You know, I have like take Bryce Harper for instance. His wife, did they have a baby yet? But either way, it doesn't matter. Like say you have a brand new little baby, you got a wife. You know, that starts to go into your mind. You know, because like, do you think they're probably going to be stuck with them because of the whole quarantine and everything? It's like I don't want to get my baby sick. I don't want to get my wife sick.
I think once
that's a major thing to think about.
I think once they start, and this is going to go for all 3 of the sports. It's going to be hockey. It's going to be basketball and baseball. Once it starts, there's no stopping.
Yeah.
So they're going to be tested probably weekly.
And if you get positive, you're just not going to play that week. You're not going to play.
Yeah, you're going to be quarantined and you're going to be out until you can pass a test. And I just.
That's crazy.
It's unless we have a huge second wave. See, the problem is what MLB is their deadline is they want to be done before October because all the doctors they're talking to is saying October is going to be when a second wave's coming.
Oh, you don't want to go any further than that. I might just play baseball in November.
I disagree with that. I think the second wave is already starting now, and I don't think there's going to be a first and a second wave. I think this is going to be continuous until
like
eventually everybody gets it, or
I think it's going to be like
it goes away.
It's almost going to be like the flu. Like eventually they'll come out with a vaccine. You'll get your what is it, yearly coronavirus
and I'm
shot.
telling you now, there's no way in heck I'm getting it because from what I'm hearing, you know, they want to put a chip inside the vaccine so they can monitor you without, you know, there's already crap
well, how about
on
that whole phone thing?
There's already crap on your phone. If you guys go to your settings, go into Google, hit search, it's going to be right there, pop up right away, COVID-19 on your phones. They're already checking you. And if you go into the database for having coronavirus, they can go through your phone, monitor your travel plans, the whole 9 yards. It is.
And now you think about, like, we were talking about this the one day, you think about baseball, you think, like, as a baseball player for me, and since I practice, I lick my fingers a lot before I throw a ball. And you just find out someone on your team has the coronavirus. Now you think about how much exposed you, like, you think about the showers, you think about the locker rooms, you know, you practice with them. You're with these guys. You're like a family. You're with them like almost 24/7.
You know, baseball's going to be tough because they're saying, you know, it's probably the easiest sport to quarantine, but they're saying no mound visits, no seeds, no gum,
My
no
thing with the
high-fiving.
mound visits is, though, is like the coach is already around the players.
No high five. But what they should do is they should do like football. Headpieces. The catcher and the pitcher can talk.
Hey, we want to throw a fastball right here.
Yeah. You have the 30-second clock. It shuts off after so many seconds, and then that's the end of it. But
so minor league's gone.
No,
minor league's gone. Right?
They're saying no fighting, which is going to kind of suck because I was hoping to see a couple Astros get pelted.
How are you going to say no fight? Like, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
You got to put your mask on first. No tobacco. Like I said, no high-fiving. Water coolers is going to be different. You know, you're going to have, I don't know what they're going to do. You're going to have your own cup, maybe with your name on it. I don't know what they're going to do. But like I said, once it starts, they can't stop it because now, you know, you got to get the season going. And me personally, I'm excited for it because I think if it's 60 games, every game is going to count. Every game is important, where when you have 162 games, it stretches out. You have time to catch back up. If you think about it now, we're at the All-Star break, and everyone's tied for first place.
Yeah.
Think about it. And 16 teams make the playoffs.
That's basically how you got to think about it. Just sucks for like teams like you take the Nationals for instance last year 40 games in, they were one of the worst teams in the league, get on a hot streak, win the World Series. So it's going to suck for teams who don't get hot right away.
Yeah.
You got to think about, too, you think about teams like Detroit, teams like the Orioles, teams that straight out suck.
This gives them a chance.
No. Oh, yeah, it does.
Gives them a
It
chance.
does give them a chance.
You got a 60-game sprint.
What I was going to go for is you think, okay, like we can just ride this out. 60 games, we can lose 60 games, get the first pick overall, start to get some draft picks. That's smart, though. You think about this is good to get into now because you think about when the season starts, a lot of the good teams don't start off well. Usually,
No.
you take the Mariners, for instance, last year.
But you think about teams in the opposite. Look at the Phillies. The Phillies always start out hot.
Yeah, you think like the Mariners last year, Tim Beckham, he had I think 6 home runs in the first 4 games, and he was leading the league. And they were they had a streak there where they were I want to say 6-2, something like that. Think about some of these teams that suck right now. The Orioles, 60 game guys. You think we win at least 40 games? There's a chance we get in the playoffs.
I love our dogs. We have 2 big dogs laying here next
Is that
to us.
smell I smell?
Dallas and Dez, and of course I named about the Cowboys. But it seems like every time we do a podcast, I have a big 10-foot, almost 11-foot bed they can lay in. They have to lay right next to us.
Man, they got some gas.
And they have horrible, horrible gas. And we're in a small room. This isn't a very big room. This is a small room.
Hot in here.
And it's sticky. And it's like paste. It's like stuck to my roof of my mouth now. It's gross. And they just later they don't move. But anyway,
I saw an interesting article too of baseball. It says, guy hits a walk-off home run. What happens? Is you just walk off the field and you celebrate inside? You're able to run out and celebrate with him?
I don't know, but
That's an interesting thing to
another
think
thing
about.
I heard on the way home, I was listening to 105.3 because I'm a G-Bag Nation fan as well.
You didn't do that, Tolo.
Yeah,
Tolo.
Jeff Kavanaugh didn't give us a shout out. Anyway, they're talking about no extra innings. You're gonna after the 9th inning was tied. You're gonna go to the 10th inning, but they're gonna do international rules where a guy starts on second base.
I like that.
I do too. I do too. It makes the game more interesting. It's gonna change how you pitch to players. It's gonna bring the bunt back. You're gonna try to get that
Next
guy over
they're
third base.
with a 1-1 count too.
Yeah. It's gonna get the short game, the small game back. It's gonna make baseball interesting again. I'm excited. I really am.
Game,
I just hope they can work this out because the way things are going, there could be a lockout next year.
There could be. Because there's a new thing coming.
We can go from having no sports because of coronavirus and then them coming back to having no sports because the NBA already said that if the players, because of Kyrie Irving when he said about starting his own league and everyone should sit out and everything else, if they don't show, they can rip up the CBA and they'll have a lockout next year. Baseball is already on that fence.
Sports coming back is either going to be a really good thing or a really bad thing.
I think the hardest one is going to be football. It really is because that's a contact sport. You cannot.
You think
You
about
can't have a play where you don't touch somebody.
You think about football too. You think about people sit on the sideline, like practice squad players. Do you think they eliminate that, and you think we only have like a couple guys? We'll have a couple guys stand on the bench with us.
So we talked about this before. The center blows snot from his nose. He's touching his face.
Licks his Drew Brees,
Then
licks his fingers all the
touches
time.
the ball, and then Drew Brees, quarterbacks licking their fingers. Guess what? Boom! You just gave it to him.
What's happening? Those ball boys.
You throw the ball. Now the receiver catches it. He gets it.
He's using his gloves. They spits in.
Yeah.
You're gonna have those. How the ball boys hold the balls? They'll be having coronavirus wipes, wiping off every single ball.
Well, I can't think of that tennis player, Jokic or whatever the heck his name is, that famous tennis player that just had this charity tennis match. It got canceled because the guy he was gonna play had COVID-19. They all went out clubbing, had a big party where they're dancing on tables, shirtless, the whole 9 yards. The count is up to 10 people now in that bar, including that famous tennis player, which, God, I don't follow tennis, so I don't know his name. They all got COVID. So this is no joke. It spreads. It spreads really
quick,
fast.
Man. It spreads quick. That's crazy. It's crazy. You see, Ken Griffey came out and said that he never wanted to play for the Yankees.
You know why?
I think they would call his dad the N-word, wouldn't they?
No.
Isn't that what he said?
No, that's not what he said.
No,
I'm
I'm
just
not.
watching
I'm not.
the phone, see if we get a call. No, what happened?
What did happen?
What happened was his dad.
I heard someone.
His
was
dad
getting
was
called
playing
that.
in Yankee Stadium, so he went up to visit his dad playing in Yankee Stadium one day, and he was sitting in a dugout, and somebody came down and said, "Hey, George Steinbrenner don't like kids in the dugout."
Was his dad
So-
playing for the Yankees?
I don't know if he was playing for the Yankees or if he was playing against the Yankees, whatever. But Ken Griffey's dad goes to his son, "Hey, look out in the field before you walk away." And out on the field was the Yankees' third baseman, Greg Nettles, taking infield and outfield with his son on the field. So
That's messed up.
It is
dude.
messed
That's
up.
messed up.
It
Now,
is
is that a
messed up.
race thing? Is that
Yeah,
is that an away team thing?
It is messed up.
That's messed up. Let's
But-
get into this Bubba Wallace thing too. This is intriguing, man. This is really intriguing. Talladega happened. What was that? Saturday, Sunday?
It started Sunday, but they had a rain out, so it finished Monday.
And
Saturday
Bubba
is
Wallace
when-
obviously is not a white man, and he had the car with Black Lives Matters on it, which
Well-
they pushed to the front.
Well, Bubba Wallace is the one that came out and said, "Look, we need to get rid of the Confederate
yeah,
flag,"
yeah.
which is fine.
It's
you know?
fine. But what happened to him is kind of crazy. So I don't know if it was in his garage or someone's
in his
garage.
garage.
Someone hung up a rope that looked like a noose. Let's be real, it was a noose.
Which is weird that nobody's seen it.
Nobody saw.
There's
is there no
cameras
There's gotta be
everywhere. I mean,
cameras
those are
somewhere.
$500,000 race cars, man. You cannot. And
You cannot tell me there's not
it's
one
a fan.
camera in there.
It wasn't a fan because fans don't have access to that.
Imagine his own crew.
Well, they're saying now, there's reports out there saying that maybe not him personally, but his crew, somebody planted it for attention as a joke, whatever. But the FBI is involved.
And the FBI is saying that this is not a hate crime, but how can you not say this
That's
is a hate crime? Someone who has
That is a
taken
hate crime.
a stand in the NASCAR world has a noose in his garage.
That is 100% a hate crime. And the chairman of NASCAR came out and said if they find out whoever did it, they will be banned from NASCAR for life.
You gotta not be human, man, to put a noose in someone's garage.
Nah, we talked about this the last two podcasts, and I don't want to harp on it anymore, but we are really, really living in some really heartless, evil times, man. I mean, you see what's going on in the world.
That takes it to a level where, man, like if someone saw you doing that, like you'd be lucky to be alive.
Yeah. It's nuts. And
if that was your own crew, could you imagine how heartbreaking that'd be? If that was your own crew that did that.
Yeah.
It's terrible, man. It's terrible.
But the weird thing is like I said, there's so many cameras in there, and for them not to come out yet and say what they've seen, but the FBI is involved, so they must know something. But God, this is just not the time for that stuff. That really isn't.
It's really
It really
crazy.
isn't.
It's really crazy.
I mean, we live in a world that's just flipped upside down right now.
Yeah.
Hockey, by the way, I have one note on hockey somewhere. Hockey is actually down to its final 6 teams as far as where they're going to play their season. Pittsburgh and Dallas have been eliminated because of the coronavirus. Vegas, Chicago, Los Angeles, Edmonton, Toronto, and Vancouver are all the final 6 cities. They're going to decide which final 2 there will be for their, 16 teams
Something like that, yeah.
that are going to a playoff tournament? Yes. But again, they're going to have issues
We'll have our
if
stat guy look that one up for us in the back.
if
No one sees.
it's in Toronto or it's in Canada, anywhere up there, they're going to have the whole problem with the non-essentials crossing the border. So we'll
gonna be crazy.
see what happens.
But we're just gonna take a little break here,
we're
guys.
Not.
Not yet.
No.
Okay, keep it
I
going.
got some Cowboy notes. Dak Prescott finally came out and he signed his franchise tag.
He signed it. Yeah, I
Yes.
saw that. And it's very intriguing. I think he's finally trying to see what's going on in the world.
Dak's contract is the biggest contract, the biggest one-year contract in Cowboys history at $31.4 million. Right now, Dallas has the only team in the NFL with 3 players making $20 million or more on their team. Dak is making 31.4, Amari's making 20, and D-Law is making 21.
What was it? 34-something million guaranteed right off the bat.
It's
31.4,
31.4, but they are
franchise tag?
expecting him to make over $80 million this year in endorsements.
I saw a funny Pat McAfee thing where he was talking about how he was in Canada for a buddy's birthday, his son's birthday, and the Colts came out and I guess offered him like a $2 million like thing to sign, right? Guaranteed, $2 million guaranteed something. He said he faxed that paper over so quick to get $2 million right in his bank account, and he was like, for Dak Prescott to see $34 million guaranteed and not take that instantly, you got to have a lot going on, man.
Yeah, and I think
That's life changing. 34 mil.
I think one of the reasons Dak signed the tag finally is because if there isn't a season, he has no contract right now, so there's nothing on the table for him.
You think there's tax on that guarantee money?
I have no idea, man. He lives in Texas. They don't have a state tax down there for that stuff. I don't know how that
$34 million,
works.
man.
I don't know how to get if they. I heard rumors.
Weren't you the one that was telling me outside of this podcast that when a player plays in a different state, there's different taxes?
That's what I heard. They have to pay taxes on every state they play in.
That's crazy. That's crazy, man. But $34 million, good for him. I guess he does earn it. What do they have? July something to get a deal
July
done?
15th to get a deal done.
I don't think it's getting done.
The problem with this whole situation is the Cowboys are going to have almost, 35-40% of their cap already invested in 3 players. That's $70 million right there. And if the cap does lower next year, the Cowboys are going to be in horrible cap hell. They're going to have to end up cutting people because they're not going to have room.
If I'm Jerry Jones, I had someone actually listen to our podcast, the last podcast with Jeff on, and he said, that Jerry Jones impression, man, I thought that he played a record on the phone or something. But if I'm Jerry Jones, I'm thinking, you know what, Dak, we offered you our contract. We negotiated with you a lot. We gave you a lot of money on the table. So we're going to stick that there. You signed that franchise tag. We're not going to negotiate anymore. That contract's there for you. If you don't want it, we'll test you out again this year, see how great your season is. Our contract's still there. Worst comes to worst, he leaves. Your team is still stacked. Andy Dalton's in your back pocket. You could draft a quarterback. Good young team. That's all I'm saying, man. It's just people are like, if I was an owner, man, I'd have a.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
The Eagles beat writer came out, and every year they come out with their 10 reasons why the Cowboys are going to be crap. And some of the reasons I actually agree with this year. They came out and they said one of them is because they have a new coaching staff. They couldn't practice yet, and I agree with that. Another one is that they talked about Zeke, and they see Zeke has a lot of miles on him already. And I have a stat that I was blown away by. Zeke is only 24 years old, and there's only 4 players ahead of him that have more touches in their career right now actively.
Really?
Yeah, Todd Gurley, Frank Gore, Le'Veon Bell, and AP. Oh no, and there's another. I think Ingram's in the other one that you mentioned.
That has more touches than
They
him?
have more touches than it. So Zeke's only 24 years old,
He's only been in the league, what, 3 years, 4
and
years?
he has more touches than everyone in the NFL except for 4 running backs. That's insane.
That's insane for a 24-year-old. No, that's why he's the highest paid quarterback, man.
They're
Not
saying
quarterback, running back.
Zeke only had 4 explosive carries last year of 20 yards or more. 23 players in the league had at least 5 or more. So they're saying he's stepped. I don't agree with that. I think he does have a lot of carries. In the running back position is a position where you tend to
Throw a lot.
You roll it over and you get new guys in there. But for 24 years old, he led the league in rushing 2 or 3 years.
Rookie of the year. No, just kidding. Dak beat him out for Rookie of the Year.
I think the Cowboys' offense is changing, so you don't need to run as much. So I wouldn't say that the tread's off the tire already.
I think with Dallas though, like when you have a running back where you can run a lot, that takes a lot less pressure. That takes more pressure off Dak, and allows your receivers to get open more because they're gonna pull an extra guy to try and stop Zeke. Because let's be real, it's hard to tackle a man that big.
Well, it's gonna be interesting because Zeke's only 24 in 2 years in 2021, because they have this season and next season. After the 2021 season, the Cowboys have an out. They can get out of their contract with him, and it'll only be a $7 million dead cap hit. So at 26 years old, would you walk away from Ezekiel Elliott? I don't know.
Depends how he's been playing.
Depends how Pollard plays behind him.
I feel like running back is an easy position to find. Obviously the draft, obviously in free agents, it's always good young players. I think with Zeke, if he's 26, look at AP. As old as AP is, he's still running the ball pretty nicely. Obviously, he's not running as like an elite running back anymore. But at 26, if Zeke is still running fast and hurdling guys and putting up 1,000 yards rushing, I'm signing him still. I'm going to keep him.
Yeah,
that Amari Cooper breakdown though by Jeff last week, that was a really good breakdown because I when you look at it, you think, what is it, 5 years, $100 million? That's a terrible contract because there's a lot more receivers better than him. But he broke it down and he was like, it's a 2-year deal
for $40 million.
And he said someone else is a 2-year deal too. Gallup. So he's like, you got 2-year deals on both of them to see how this plays out. And then you have, obviously, CeeDee Lamb on a rookie deal. He broke it down. I was like, that's actually a pretty smart deal by Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
It looks like a big deal, but secretly, it's not a 5. That's what's messed up too. And I could see why these guys want guaranteed money. You could sign a 5-year contract and they can get rid of you after 2.
When you think about it, if you sign a 5-year deal, like the Cowboys, if you look at all the Cowboys' big name stars over, the last 30 years, whatever, if you look at all of them, they're all 5-year deals. And if you think about it, it's actually a 7-year deal. Because if you have a quarterback, you sign him for 5 years, you can franchise tag him for 2 years.
Yeah.
So the Cowboys don't like to go under 5 years. They hardly ever do it. If they,
Play your phone's ringing, my heart's dropping.
I know I do. If they come down to that 4-year deal with Dak, then you're gonna have to come back and negotiate with Dak later on down the road after that TV deal comes out, and then by then, he could be getting $45 million a year.
It's interesting. I really want to see how this folds out. I think that this has put a bad taste in just Dallas's name. Between Dak and I feel like Jerry Jones always does get his deals done, but this has been a very interesting offseason with Dak Prescott. We've seen a lot of money on the table. We've seen him perform pretty well. Obviously there's stats that can go against him, but
and if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is the only quarterback that has ever been franchise tagged by Dallas, if I'm not mistaken.
That's an interesting stat.
Yeah.
I'm still shocked about that Ken Griffey thing you told me.
Yeah.
It's messed up, man.
When you listen to sports radio all day long at work, you pick up little tidbits.
That's just that blows my mind.
I heard
a father, that's got to make you mad. Like, imagine your kid was chilling there and Steinberg.
I heard a list one time from Troy Hughes, who's also on 105.3. Talked about injuries that happened to baseball players off the field that got him on. One was Nolan Ryan. He got hurt. He got bit by a coyote. He was out.
What the heck?
One was a player, I can't remember the names.
We just had Bumgarner get hurt on a dirt bike.
One was a player who threw his back out from sneezing.
I've heard you could do that. That's actually a thing. That's crazy.
I think it was John Smoltz for
pitcher for the Braves and the Yankees.
He got burns on his chest from ironing a shirt that he was wearing.
Dude, that's just stupid.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was Ricky Henderson got frostbite from falling asleep on an ice pack. And I think
that can really happen.
I think Ken Griffey Jr. hurt his groin by getting pinched by his cup or something like that.
That hurts though.
Yeah,
that's not comfortable to wear.
Yeah,
that's.
But next time I hear that, I'm gonna write them down.
That's actually very interesting. That was actually good.
Well, it's 8:28. Our guest still hasn't called in yet. Could this be one of those?
I'll take a little break now. Drink of water real quick.
Yeah, we'll take a break.
We'll take a little break, guys. We'll be right back for you guys. All right, so joining us on the phone today, we have MLB player Mr. Clutch. Rajai Davis. How you doing, Mr. Davis?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, guys.
It's a pleasure, man. Thank you. Number one, I want to make sure, you and your family, I hope you guys are doing great during these crazy times that's going on, especially quarantine. And just how are you getting through quarantine, man, especially training and just everyday life? Because I know I've been going crazy some days.
Well, I know I'm just I got kids keeping me busy all day, every day, and they wake up early, go to bed, I guess relatively, later. So, pretty much all throughout the day is, constant going.
Absolutely.
That gets easier, Rajai, when they end up being in their 20s. You get to sit back and enjoy life a little bit more.
Oh, yeah. I got a ways to go. I got a 4-year-old, I'm a 5-year-old and a 6-year-old. So.
Oh, man.
Well,
yeah,
Rajai, your story is amazing. I was reading a little bit that you actually had to borrow gas money to drive for a tryout with the Pirates. Your story is just amazing because if you look at the amount of people that get drafted every year, it is not easy to get to that final step, which is the major leagues.
Well, especially when I was getting drafted in because there was 50 rounds. I know they've reduced that since, but 50 guys, getting drafted every year, and you're one of, if you're not their guys, you got to make a name for yourself real quick.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now that 162 game season, how tough is that physically and mentally on just anybody, especially a young athlete nowadays? You have 19-year-olds, 21-year-olds who are in the pros. Is that like a very tough thing to deal with? Yeah,
it's definitely difficult if you're not used to it. And baseball players, I think the ones that stick around a while, they get used to it, and they make a routine, a schedule that works for them, and they're able to manage the mental side of the game really well.
Well, how do you feel now? Like, there's talks about they want to shorten the season. Do you think 162 games is actually too long, or do you think like people would pay more attention to a 70 or an 80 game season?
Well, I mean, there's more on the line when you got a shorter schedule. I guess for us, there's hot and cold streaks throughout the course of the season. Some teams get hot. I mean, when it comes down to it, really, you want to get hot at the right time. And with a shortened schedule, some teams get hot at that time. Going into the playoffs that's when you want to be playing your best ball, and that makes a difference. But I suppose in a longer schedule, it's going to be the team that endures it long is going to win.
Yeah. Now I play center field, and I love the game that you played as a player. You were very fast, blessed with speed. You had a quick bat. You had a lot of clutch moments throughout your career in Oakland with the Indians. And one of the big ones I really wanted just to hear your side of view is obviously probably a big one for you is the World Series Game 7. You're down by 2 facing Aroldis Chapman, who during that time and still now is probably one of the best relievers, in the game. Could you just take us through that at bat a little bit and talk to us what was in your mind, how to stay calm in such a crazy situation?
Well, I think that's something that just practice. Just running through my mind constantly before I got to that moment. When the moment came, just recognize that I'm in this moment that I've been, waiting for my whole life, and to be ready for it, and willing to, just go all in. I'm hunting my pitch. If you give it to me,
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna attack it, and I was able to attack it.
yeah, you definitely got that low and in pitch that I mean the commentators, as far as I
Joe Buck said.
they kept saying that's his pitch, and seeing you choked up, man, is it really tough, seeing that 100 miles coming in from Aroldis Chapman, who's such a big lanky guy to begin with.
Oh, he's very, very, very difficult to hit. I mean, if you saw me the first, 6 times I faced him, it was a disaster. I mean, just flew the balls right by me.
Did you know it was
but
gone when you hit it?
I didn't. I mean, I was hoping. I know I hit it good. That was the best I've, had hit the ball in a long time like that. So it definitely felt good off the bat. I know it had the velocity. I wasn't sure if it had the height.
Yeah, we were definitely rooting for Cleveland. I think I was rooting for. I don't know what anyone else was in this room, but now as far as just film study, do you guys as players, do you guys like have a certain amount of time through the day where you study the pitchers that you're going to face throughout the week and try and memorize some of the pitches that they like to throw that you like to hit off of?
Oh, absolutely. You do your due diligence. You look at the film. But when you play a team so much, so often, and they bring in the same guys, you get an idea of what they're trying to do. You get an idea what that pitcher is trying to do. That was my 3rd time I faced him that series.
Yeah.
In pretty much in a week span. So that's, when you face a reliever, that's the thing about the relievers that sets them apart, because you don't get to face them as much. So there's as often, as you would face a starting pitcher. You might get to see the starting pitcher 2-3 times in one game, and so you can make your necessary adjustments. But relievers, you get to see them once, maybe one every other day. I mean, if they're good, maybe in the World Series, obviously they bring them out every day. So I mean, if the game is tight, anyways, so you got a chance to see them more often.
Well, Rajai, it seems like as the game is getting more and more advanced as far as pitchers being taller, low 90s is no longer a thing. Everything's like mid 90s to 100. There's even a kid out, I can't remember his full name. His last name's Little. He was just picked up. He throws like 105. And they said by the time the season starts, he can throw 108 miles an hour.
It's crazy.
Is that to a point where it's like, man, you just might as well just go up there and just try to make contact?
Well, I mean, as hard as the guys go, these hitters are getting really incredibly, really good. So they're able to do really remarkable things. They're if that's the only pitch you got, guys are going to hit that.
Yeah,
believe it or not, they're gonna if that's the only pitch you're going to throw, they're going to hit that eventually.
They're going to time
it. They're just going to time it up and hit it. You gotta have some other stuff to go with that.
I think that's what's tough too. You get those guys that throw 100 and then they throw like a 70-mile-an-hour curveball, break your ankles.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's like what Chapman does now. Chapman relies on that slider a lot, and it's deadly.
Oh yeah.
Now, obviously, you played on a lot of teams, a lot of good teams. Is there anybody that you could truly say you played with or got got to watch that you could say is one of the best players you've got to see play?
I mean, I got to play alongside Barry Bonds, which was by far hands down. I mean, the last year he played, he hit 27 or about 27 home runs, and he wasn't playing every day.
Yeah.
I was the guy that got to play, on the day game after night game because he wasn't playing those kind of games, because that recovery is tough when you're 43 or 44 and you're still, dominating the league and hitting homers off 97 miles up and away and hitting them out opposite field. I mean, he was amazing. It really was.
Rajai, I got to ask you, because you played with Boston, how big is the Boston Yankee rivalry for the players?
It's huge. It's huge. Just remember playing those Sunday night baseball games, and getting in there late. It was fun though.
And that's a beautiful field there in Boston.
So like when you come from another team and you come to Boston, do they like sit you down and say, okay, here's your locker, here's your cleats, and by the way, you hate the Yankees? No answer.
I mean, it's that's fan base really.
Okay.
That's the fans really pump that up. The media pumps that up, and that's what it comes down to. It's all about what the fans want.
Yeah. And now,
Give them
Rajai, we know you don't have a lot of time, and we appreciate you coming on. But at all the teams you played for, was there a team that you had a favorite? The team, the teammates, just the fans in general.
I mean, I just loved playing with Cleveland. It was the organization, from head down. It was amazing. It was really, really good. It was just just the front office, the manager, the players that was on the team. Everything just really worked together really well.
And now, are you looking to possibly get back into the MLB? Are you putting the cleats up?
Looking for coaching, anything?
Well, I mean, it's possible to get back in the MLB right now. I'm scheduled to go down to Mexico and play in Acereros de Monclova. So that's a Mexican league.
That's nice.
So I am scheduled to go down there and play.
Absolutely.
Now, do you have any of your children going to follow in your footsteps?
My son loves it. He's obsessed with it. He's starting earlier than I did. He's 5, so he's on target. So
that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Happy Father's Day, by the way.
By the way, yes.
Oh, thank you.
Well, Rajai, we really do truly appreciate you coming on and giving us just at least 10 minutes of your time. And we wish you the best if you continue in the MLB and the Mexico League. And we just hope you guys stay safe over there.
All right, thank you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Rajai.
Thank you. That was amazing. That was Rajai Davis. I got us the inside scoop on everything that happened with his career.
I didn't think he was going to answer the Boston
I
question.
did.
I was like, uh-oh.
I thought we lost him.
Maybe I
second.
hit a nerve or something, but
That was good. That's cool. Awesome guys to have on. We're continuing to grow. Obviously got a shout out from Kenyon Drake. Have another shout out that we're going to reveal on our Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, so stay tuned for that one. But that was a good podcast.
Really good podcast. And I'm glad Rajai came on. And remember, Morgan Mixers, man, if you want some beverages for the
Morgan
summertime,
Mixers, baby.
Morgan Mixers, hit them up.
We guys hope you enjoyed this podcast. I'm going to try and get up as quick as I can today. Again, it is Tuesday, 8:42, so we'll be up on Spotify and all the other apps. It's just YouTube usually takes it another half day. But we hope you guys stay safe, and we'll see you.
Peace.